Today we are sitting down with one of the most experienced and knowledgeable Airbnb investors that I know of, and all around just cool guy.
He's profiting tens of thousands of dollars a month with his Airbnb portfolio, and he's starting a huge management company as well. You're not going to miss this one. So, like we said, we're sitting with the Airbnb king, Jason. He is taking over Las Vegas with Airbnbs. We're super excited to talk to him today. But before we jump into it, make sure to hit that subscribe button so we never miss a video.
Absolutely. Jason, thank you for being here.
Guys, thank you for having me.
We need to put a crown on you because you truly are becoming the Airbnb king of Las Vegas. This guy owns multiple Airbnbs. We'll get into all that. But again, thank you for being here with us. We're hoping to drop a lot of knowledge about Airbnbs to you guys here today.
Well, thank you for having me on, guys. This is cool for me. You guys are somebody I really look up to in the real estate and business world. And let's go. Let's do this.
Yeah,
Sweet.
We're excited because, we dropped a video a couple months ago about our Airbnb nightmare. We own a couple rentals. We're trying to build a rental portfolio. That one crashed and burned. So to sit with you today and learn everything about Airbnbs and how to do it right is going to be huge for us too. So.
Awesome. I'm happy to help. I'll answer any questions that you might have.
Sweet. So why don't we tell people a little bit about where you stand with Airbnb right now, like if you own, how many and where they are, and then kind of what the landscape for Airbnb is like in Vegas.
Perfect. So for all the viewers out there, I think one of the biggest misconceptions is that Airbnb is legal all over Las Vegas, and it's not.
Okay.
We found that out the hard way.
And you guys found that out the hard way. Right now, it's legal in North Las Vegas in a very small sector and the city of Henderson.
Oh, I didn't even know North Las Vegas.
Yes.
Okay.
And so in order to operate one correctly, you need a short-term rental license. Okay. So that's the correct term, short-term rentals. And what that means is you're renting out a property for 30 days or less. You can rent it out for 1 day, 3 days, 5, etc. Mm-hmm. And so what I found was that there was a really big need for these. And people always are coming to Las Vegas. They love to party. They love the Strip.
Absolutely.
And so I put myself in a situation to start buying these.
When did you buy your first one?
I bought my first. I am new. I started January 1st.
So newish.
Newish.
Okay.
And I learned the business in and out, property managing them, buying them, learning how to furnish them, rehab them, and then run them. So
this has been your baby for the year.
Yes.
Learning the ins and outs of Airbnb and into the exact details of what, the future of Airbnb looks like here in Vegas too.
Yeah, so I dove right into it. When I see something that I think is going to be good, and I will go all in on it, and that's what I did. And you cannot operate a business, in my opinion, unless you do it yourself. And that's what I did. I bought my first one, I learned how to do it, and now I just kept snowballing, and I'm starting to bring other people in, and that's what I'm doing.
Do you think Airbnb became more prevalent because of COVID in the last year? Less people want to go to hotels and stay in hotels with so many strangers and different people walking around them versus being able to take your family to a house and just be confined to that property and being able to freely use a property without everyone around? It's
a great point. So the short-term rentals were closed down during COVID. Mm-hmm. So I got in at the perfect time when that ended, when that lockdown kind of ended and it reopened. But yes, I do see and I'm hearing people are done with the hotels. It's very expensive.
It is. Sure.
It's super expensive, and Vegas is now not just an adult scene. It's family oriented, and there's a lot of different areas besides like the Strip and Henderson and North Las Vegas that people just like to come out and do hiking and do other activities.
Yeah, I totally agree. We had ours and we were attempting to do it prior to COVID, and so once COVID hit, we lost all of our bookings, like overnight.
Yep.
I think we were booked out for like 5 months straight, and then literally March of 2020, within a couple of days, 25 bookings canceled.
But later on that year, and even going into early this year, we did see the resurgence of that demand, where now people are been cooped up too long, they're going to travel, you can't keep them from traveling forever, and they did seek an alternate option, which would be a more private option. A way to stay away from the masses. And so now I think it is more prevalent than ever.
So when I buy these, I have to go look at it 2 different directions. If another COVID happens, what do we do?
Sure.
So I am a huge buy and holder. I love having normal rentals as well as the short-term rentals. So there is a backup plan in place if the short-term rental doesn't work out.
Can you let us in on that?
Yes.
Okay, what is that?
So the backup plan is this. For example, what did you do when yours got shut down?
We had it already set up for Airbnb. It was furnished, badass. So we put a furnished rental, essentially. Is what we turned it into.
That's exactly my backup plan too.
Okay.
So you need to have both, because there's no guarantee that the city is going to allow.
Right.
Or if you get too many complaints, the city can take away your license.
Ooh, okay.
Okay, so that you're buying a property that, yes, this is what you want to do in a short-term rental. You obviously want to Airbnb it and VRBO it, all those things. But if it doesn't work out, what's the backup option? And I think a lot of people don't have that backup option.
Making sure it cash flows in that event.
Right. You want it just in case both ways.
Okay.
So one thing we found, obviously with our mistake, was that the furnished rental did go at a much higher rental price rental rate than a standard rental without any furniture in it. So your plan is exactly that, to turn them into furnished rentals, not just standard rentals?
Yeah, so what I found just buying normal rentals is that when you put a little luxury touch on them, everyone wants that. People like the freshness of a home, right? Same thing with the short-term rental. When people go on vacation, they would rather stay, and I saw your property, it's beautiful. They'd rather stay in that. They're on vacation, they want to spend more money to be in something nice.
Yeah, and when you really think about it, I want to get into this later on about like going through the process of buying it, what are some of the hurdles, but I've booked Airbnb a lot. I mean, I'm sure you guys have when you travel. It's a great way to travel and stay somewhere. But I'm scrolling through pictures, and what I notice is, depending on the beds, baths, and all the other amenities, I could stay in a place for, let's say, $300 a night that's not renovated, not nice, but then I could probably stay in a place that's renovated for like $350, $400. So that little bit of price increase where I'm on vacation, I'm willing to spend that money. It's really not that much, but it draws your attention almost immediately as a consumer.
It will definitely pay off big time. And that's always been my motto, even with regular rentals. Go all out.
Yeah.
Do it the right way. And you guys do the same thing with your flipping. Like your flipping is top notch. You don't have any problem selling it, right? So that's our motto with these.
So how many do you own?
I own 6 currently, and I own 1 in Kansas City.
So 6 active Airbnbs. How many long-term holds do you own?
I own 17 total.
17 long-term holds.
Combined with my short-term rentals.
So 6 Airbnbs, 11 rentals.
Correct.
Nice. Okay, you're setting yourself up.
That's a nice portfolio right there.
Yeah, I'm not from Las Vegas. I'm from New York, where your dads are from, right? Yep. And I listened to your podcast with them. I really related with them. Where I moved to Las Vegas, and I was like, this is it. Like, I love it here. So a real good opportunity, and just I comparing it to where I'm from, New York is so expensive.
Oh yeah.
And so when I first moved here, the real estate was cheap, and I bought one, and I was like, wow, this is great. You could buy a house, you could have somebody essentially paying it off, and every month the property value was going up and up and up, and so I kept doing it. And my strategy has always been, I save up a certain number in my mind of I'm going to save up this amount of money, and I'm going to try and buy another one. I don't force it. I have that money, and then I start looking.
Okay.
How much is that?
$25,000.
So every $25,000 that you save, you dedicate towards a property.
Correct. And I have it saved, ready to go, and then I start looking, and then if I find a property, I try to dedicate my money to that property.
A lot of people, when they think about investing in real estate, and we talk about this all the time, they think it's impossible for them to fathom spending $25,000 on a property. But if you have a plan and you take, maybe it's just 10% of every paycheck or 5% of every paycheck and put it into an account, that money will get there at some point for you to be able to buy that property. So is that a percentage of your income that you save and dedicate towards that?
Yeah, that's a great point. Yes, it is. It's a good portion of it. I didn't start in real estate. I was a teacher. I moved here as a phys ed teacher. Yeah. Cool. And I went to college, and I was a phys ed teacher, and then I wanted something better, and I kind of fell into it. And my strategy has always been buy a property and rent it out. And keep that going, and I've been able to kind of bring in my friends and family from back home, because again, it's still cheaper than where I'm from.
Sure.
And the returns are very good. So if you're looking for a great city to invest in rentals, Las Vegas and Henderson are the spot.
Interesting, because a lot of people might say the opposite about that, because our rental rates maybe haven't been there in the past history, but I think they are climbing and they're approaching an area where now it makes total sense.
Yeah, the cash flow. I'll give you my whole business model. I'm buying.
Yeah, let it out.
I'll give it to you. I'm buying properties in the best location I can buy.
Okay.
Near schools that everyone wants to go to. I take the house and I remodel it as nice as I can, and then I charge a very high price for that house.
Okay.
And something that I do that I think not a lot of people do, I try to get one renter in there forever. I don't want the turnover.
I see.
I want one person in there forever.
Yeah.
And I manage all my properties myself.
Wow.
I do not hire a property management company. I do it all myself.
Is there a reason for that?
Yes, there is. When you run a rental the right way, it's like you're dating that person,
Sure.
that tenant.
Right.
You need a good relationship with them,
right,
or else it's gonna go bad. And I found that I've never even tried a property management. I just know that that person is never gonna manage it as well as me. And so I've just done it all myself.
You know, I read an article and listened to podcasts where, you know, this particular landlord did only Section 8, and he loved it because Section 8 tenants are typically tenants that can't afford or don't have the credit to purchase a home.
Yep.
So they're going to be renters for a very long time. And a lot of these landlords turn away from Section 8 because they think the tenants are trouble, but really it's because they're not building the relationships.
Yep.
So he sends them Christmas gifts.
Yeah.
He sends them cards for Thanksgiving. He sends them birthday cards and birthday gifts. And he built that relationship. And his average tenancy was 15 years.
That's amazing.
And if you don't have to do a turnover for 15 years, the amount of profits in that particular investment are huge. Because how much is a turnover, do you say? You know, $3 to $5 grand?
Yeah, it's expensive when people move out.
Repairs, cleaning,
exactly,
all kinds of stuff.
And I'll tell you, I've gotten so much more business from my tenants than anybody else. They
Interesting.
refer me to, they're like, hey, do you have another house?
The relationships are key.
Exactly.
Yeah.
My friend, I love renting from you. Can my friend rent from you also? And then they send me business, and it's nice.
So long-term rentals, Airbnb, we touched on just the topic in general, but I want to get down to essentially the nitty-gritty of why we brought you here.
Okay.
It's about buying an Airbnb, what that process is like, and then once you do, the approvals, and then whether you rehab it, furnish it, list it, all that stuff, all the key points of how to do this the right way. I really feel like you're a guy who's doing it the right way. So I'd like to give the people that information. So if you're still watching, make sure you watch to the end of the video, because now we're about to get into key components and the nuggets of knowledge that you need to run a right Airbnb.
Okay.
Give us the perfect Airbnb scenario.
Yeah,
Okay.
starting from finding it.
All right, we'll start from scratch here.
Okay.
There's around 13 to 15,000 Airbnbs in Las Vegas, Henderson area.
Dang.
Okay. Only around 400 of those are legal.
Okay.
So it's working. People are doing them,
Sure.
but they're doing them not correctly.
Okay.
So we're doing them correctly. So what you need to do is you need a special license. I have a property management license and a short-term rental license. So
And those are from the city?
That's from the city,
Okay.
yes. And so that will allow me to manage them if I want to, and starting off have a property. Have one that I could short-term rental. Okay.
Now I don't want to go too far without
Yep.
touching on this. That process of getting those isn't quite as easy as you think, though.
No, it's not.
So that's the thing I
How
want
do
to
you
touch
get it?
on.
How do you get the license?
So you can go apply. There's a college course that will allow you to
really?
have it. Yes.
Okay.
So it's I think it's 3 weeks that takes you to do online, just like a college class. And then you take that class, and then I took I'm a Nevada State certified property manager.
So you have to be a licensed realtor and then get your property manager's
You
license as
don't
well.
have to. You don't
Okay.
have to have, if you want to manage it though.
Oh, if you want to manage
Okay,
it.
if you want to manage it, you need those two things, yeah.
Okay.
Okay. So this is what I was trying to get at here is you have to essentially buy that property before you know if you're going to get the permit or not.
Great point. So that's the scariest thing.
Yeah.
You can buy a house with this intention of, and it happened to me, I'm going to Airbnb this is the perfect house,
Right.
and then you could get declined.
Which
you
is
could get
brutal.
denied.
After you own the home.
Yeah, for one day.
Wow.
And you could say, you could submit the license, you could submit your application, and they could come and say no.
Now I don't know if this is super applicable to Airbnb across the country. Do you know if that's just Henderson here, how it operates here?
It's different every county
Okay.
across the country. Some have rules, some don't have rules.
Okay.
But what I'm finding out when I compare our market to others is that we're very advanced in the short-term rental game. We have the rules set, there's a lot of laws set, because technically we're taking business from the hotels.
I was going to say it's probably more regulated because the hotels are.
Yes, they don't
city,
like they don't like what we're doing, right? We're taking business away from them. So it's very more in depth than some of these other markets. However, if you go to other markets like Florida and California, beach markets, it's very saturated. Like if you drive down one block, there's going to be 20 of them.
Yeah.
Okay, so I think, in my opinion, this is one of the best markets for short-term rentals and long-term rentals.
Because they're regulating the spacing between each house, they're regulating how many can be in each neighborhood.
Yes.
So therefore, your home's going to be very profitable because
It's not so
people don't
saturated.
have they don't have as many choices.
Exactly. And so what we've been seeing is just because you get this license doesn't mean that you get to keep it. So if you don't abide by the rules, it could be taken away.
So noise complaints,
things
like
neighbors
that.
complaining, just doing the wrong thing. And what we've been seeing is people have been losing their licenses, and that's just creating more opportunity for us.
Interesting.
Wow.
Okay, so let's walk through now.
Okay.
You've found a property.
Yes.
You've taken that risk. You've bought it. You've got, at least here in Vegas, you've gotten your permit. So you're ready to go.
Ready to go.
Now what?
So now you have to apply with the city.
Okay.
Now, when you do that, there's a grace period where they have to process your application, and you're sweating bullets because somebody else can swipe in underneath you. That, like, you could put it in on Tuesday and I put it in on Wednesday. You beat me to it.
So it's first come, first serve.
First come, first serve.
Okay.
Yep.
Okay, so first application in is very important.
Very important. And then they schedule a time to inspect the house.
Okay. And then
Safety.
What are they going to look for?
All safety items.
Okay,
Making
so
sure
smoke detectors.
Smoke detectors. How can you get into the house? Is the pool secluded with a fence?
Gate. Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
Those type of items.
This isn't necessarily like the condition of the house. This is just pure safety items.
Correct.
Okay.
Everything has to be permitted the right way.
Right.
Which I learned my lesson there.
You need pool signage, you
Pool
need all that
signage,
stuff. Okay.
noise meters all over,
Okay.
fire extinguishers, etc.
Okay. So at this point, if you found this property and it's not upgraded, are you already rehabbing it, or are you waiting to do that?
Okay, this happened to me. So I had a house, I had a property, and we remodeled it. I got my license and then I remodeled it. The neighbor did not like all the noise from the construction. So what did he do? He complained. And the city official came and they found something was off with the electric. And we had to fix it. But this is now 6 months now that we're going back and forth with the city trying to make it happen. So yes, it's very important that, yes, you can do it. You could buy the house as is, you apply for your license, then you remodel, and then you make sure it's up to code.
Okay.
Got it. So what is the perfect Airbnb? I know Vegas rules and regulations may be a little bit different than those around the country, but in terms of the actual most profitable house to Airbnb, what do you want to look for to buy in an actual property? How many bedrooms? How many bathrooms? Does it need a pool? Does it not? You know, how does that affect the values?
I don't think I've used Airbnb for my personal self over 5 times.
Oh,
so
wow.
I'm going to ask you this.
Yeah.
When you go on a property or you're on vacation, what do you look for? What do you want?
So when I'm going, I'm usually going with a group.
Okay.
And so I'm probably looking for something that has more than 3 bedrooms.
Great.
Because not all the bedrooms are going to be like the twin beds or the double full size where you can kind of sleep 4 people in them. So I'm looking for more than 3 bedrooms. And I'm usually looking to have a fun time when I'm generally going anywhere, if it's for an event or if it's not. So I want to make sure that house is fun, that the house feels nice.
Yep.
And usually that means the finishes of the house. Like I'm going to notice whether I'm going to stay in like a dingy, dirty old house or I'm going to stay in something bright and clean and fresh. And then while I'm there, what are the amenities that the house has, because I want to have fun.
Yes.
Again, I'm on vacation.
Yeah,
so
Right. Does it have open spaces? Is it super closed off? And then of
does
course,
it have a pool? Like I always look for a pool, even if it's in the winter. I
So
want to have
you
a
need
pool.
to touch on the pool's the number one.
Yeah.
pool's huge.
Number one factor when people ask, does your house have a pool?
Yeah.
So yes, so to touch on your point, you want properties with a pool. That's like the number one thing people ask for.
I know
Okay.
when we did ours, one of the big things was how many people can the property sleep?
Yeah.
So we looked for a property that, was a 3-bedroom. We turned it into a 4-bedroom so that it could sleep 10 plus people.
Yes, yes. So there's an algorithm with the city. For every bedrooms that you have, you can only have so many people.
Right.
And right now, the max, you could have 100 bedrooms, 16 people is the most you could have
Per home.
Per home,
To
yes.
get licensed.
Correct.
Okay.
Okay.
Interesting.
So now we've walked through, you found the property, talked about what makes a good one, gotten your permit. We choose, like we mentioned before, at least our models, is to go in and renovate the property, whether that's full extent or kind of halfway, but at least we're getting it to look a lot better than it was, so it'll stand out.
Yep.
Now, when it comes to listing it, putting it up, is there any tips that you can give people for how to list it right or price it right and then manage it right?
So it's like a whole science, the pricing
sure.
and I don't really have so much to do with that portion of it. I let my team that I work for and with, they handle that. Pictures is the number one. If you do not have good pictures, you're not going to have your thing.
That's really all you have to go off of when you book it.
And I know that we call it Airbnb, but it's really a short-term rental listed on Airbnb because it's also a Vrbo.
Correct.
Right? You also list it on Vrbo. So
the correct term is short-term rental.
Right. Okay.
And so it's kind of unique because Airbnb doesn't care if your house is legal or not. They're running their business. They're just promoting.
They're just a marketing platform.
They're just a marketing platform.
Right.
They do not care.
Okay.
And the more they have on there, right, the more money
they get paid.
They get paid.
Right.
So that's a big misconception because a lot of people are promoting that their house is legal.
Yeah.
But it's really not. So we have a form, we have a license that we put in each of our listings to show that it's a real short-term rental.
Okay.
Yeah, we know the management of an Airbnb or a short-term rental is pretty extensive. We hired someone out right away for ours. I know you have a short-term rental management company that you've just started up.
Yep.
What does that company do for the clients, and what is the cost of it?
So every house is different. It's based on the size of the house and how much work is going to be needed. But basically, the best analogy I can use is you're buying a hotel. You're buying a hotel, and with that hotel, you need staff. And it gets pricey where you need the cleaners, you need the pool guy, you need the lawn guy. All these people come into play. So every house is different on the price. But yes, we are a one-stop shop. We will do everything for you. You bring us the house, we will give you our expertise of what we think we could list it for. We could furnish it for you. We can do the rehab if you want that. But we have clients out of state that haven't even seen the house before, and they let us do everything, and they could just collect.
That's pretty cool.
And you handle the landscapers, you handle the pool guys. Does that come out of your fees, or does the client pay for it?
The client will pay for it. Just like when you own a house and you have to pay your taxes, just like that.
Right.
So when it comes to paying yourself for that service, it's a percentage of the rents?
Correct.
Okay. What is that rate?
It depends on the house.
Oh, okay.
So every house is different.
What's common? Like, what could you expect to see a range?
20%.
Somewhere in
pretty
there?
common.
20% for the one-stop shop.
One-stop shop,
Okay, got it.
Nice.
And then, and that's not bad. What do you think the average, just to put that in perspective, what does the average Airbnb typically net?
At least here.
So
here in Vegas, from your experience, from your properties.
From my best one, I'll use my favorite one. It's a small 3-bedroom, 2-bathroom condo.
Okay.
Condo house, sorry. And we're averaging around $400 to $550 a night. On the weekends, we'll get more towards the $550 range and $400 during the week.
Okay.
And that blew me away.
That's pretty expensive.
How expensive it was.
So when you talk about how much that Airbnb is going to make you, how much you're going to gross and how much you're going to net, it all determines on how the price, what you're going to price it at, and then how often you're going to be booked. So how many nights a month, right?
I try to use 16 to 18 nights is a fair.
So about half the month?
About half.
Okay.
Right? That's good. We're seeing around 90 to 92% of our months being booked.
Wow.
Yeah, so it's about 26 out of 30, sometimes 27. Sometimes we haven't really got 30 out of 30 consistently, but it's booked. They are booked.
Have you found that there's a slow season with it?
No, because Vegas is like even in the down times, the conventions are here, the rodeo's here. We have the Raiders here. We have the Golden Knights.
Yeah,
people
we're so year round.
And there's just not so many people are coming here and moving here and visiting. There's not enough space really for all these people.
Sure.
So we're getting just random bookings, what we call where somebody's building a house. They need 2 weeks. Or things like that. It's not just the party people, and I think that's a big misconception that's out there.
I think so too. So if you're netting, let's just say you're netting what, 10K a month to use an easy number?
Yeah, that's fine.
And then is the management fee of 20% taken off that 10K?
Yes.
Okay, so
whatever you're bringing in, you take that solid 10K, and then all the factors will get deducted. Your management fee, your utilities, if something breaks.
Sure.
Like it's not just so like easy peasy 1, 2, 3.
Right.
There's a lot that goes into it where people are messy. They destroy your things and they break your house. It's just like when you go to a hotel, the same things that they deal with, you're dealing with.
And what's the mortgage on that property?
So that mortgage, we paid in cash, so we don't have one on that one.
Beautiful.
Okay, so we didn't, but we will probably refinance it, even though I'm not a big BRRRR guy. We will refi it, and the numbers on it are about triple from a normal rental.
Okay. That's huge profits.
Yes.
Especially on a small 3-bedroom, 2-bath.
It's the best real estate investment that I've personally seen, being a part of, and that's why I went all in on it.
Man, congrats.
Thank you.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
Thank you.
I think what it's important to note that everyone that may be getting involved in this is that the goal obviously is to do one, but then do multiple, right?
Yeah.
And every time you do another one, you basically start from scratch.
Right.
A new permit, a new everything for that house.
Great point, Jesse. So for each house, you have to apply each time.
Okay.
It's not like you could get one license and then you could go buy 50 houses. You need to apply each single one, and the thing that's screwing people up here is just because you have that license doesn't mean you get to keep it, and you have to reapply for it every single year.
Oh, really?
Yes.
Oh, wow.
So it only lasts a year?
1 year, 12 months
okay.
term, and then that thing could get pulled if you're not abiding by the
rules and
regulations. And I think what we do well with our property management staff is if there's an issue, we handle it right away. We're not letting it get to the city, because if they start calling the city with the noise complaints and you get a couple strikes against you, like what happened to you.
Yeah.
I was going to say, that's where we went wrong is, noise complaints, and city knocked on the door. The tenants weren't educated on what to do or what to say or how to react, and I don't know if our property management company quite reacted correctly either. So
we also didn't get a permit.
Right, you didn't have but you were having somebody manage.
Yeah.
Okay. Interesting.
Yeah,
okay.
I know.
So we won't manage them unless they're licensed.
That makes sense. Let's just do everything by the book.
We do everything by the book.
Why not?
There's no shortcuts. We don't do the arbitrage.
You learn the hard way if not.
Right.
And we're testament to that.
So that's like the biggest thing right now. Let's do the arbitrage.
Yeah.
And what the arbitrage is I rent Jesse's house from him, and then I put it on Airbnb.
You make the difference.
I make the difference of the rent versus the profit. But you can't do that because you need the license. So Vegas in general is not a good place to arbitrage.
Wow, okay. So we covered an insane amount of Airbnb knowledge, rental knowledge, and investment in general knowledge. Thank you so much for dropping all of that to us, because I know we learned a lot. I'm hoping you guys learned a lot. Can I ask you one question before we start wrapping up here? What is your future with Airbnbs? Like, where do you want to take it?
So I think I want to take it into multiple states, because I think our system that I was kind of brought into, of the team, of how they run it on the back end, is so unique and so dialed in that we can do it anywhere. It doesn't just have to be here.
Number-wise, do you have any number you'd like to have?
So my goal is to buy 100 rentals by the time I'm 40. That's the goal of mine. And I think when you compare the normal rentals versus the short term, these perform better.
Yeah.
And I do think that Airbnb and short-term rentals are the future of investing. I think they're just so much better of a return than a normal rental, and we'll see those do really well.
Awesome.
That's great, dude. And we do appreciate you. We're going to jump in with you on this.
Yes.
We want to buy rentals. It's one of our missions, and it should be your mission as well. If you have any questions on buying Airbnbs or long-term rentals as well, drop a comment below. We're always happy to help.
Yes, you have to ask these questions if you have them, because we're going to go direct to Jason. You guys will get an answer, I promise you.
I'm happy to help. My Instagram is jgriggsrealestate, and
He's the man.
People message me all the time. Happy to help.
Yeah, definitely reach out to him, follow him, because this guy's doing a lot of really cool things.
Make sure to subscribe to the channel if you liked what you learned today. And until then,
We'll see you on the flip side.